So back on the MGS-like series, we created an icon maker, a dynamic icon maker, which we can reuse to basically get icons for each of any of the series we are actually doing. Okay, so let's go and port that. You can take the scripts from the MGS-like series. Okay, so I'm just going to drag and drop my icon maker in here. Let it compile. Okay, so we have an icon maker. The icon maker has some resources, which is the icon maker game object, the render layer, and the target render texture, and so on and so on. Okay, we have the icon maker game object, which just takes an object and drops it there, and we have the scripts. The way we are connecting this with our items is basically through the interfaces. Okay, so I can go under my scripts, under the items, and I can go onto the item itself, and I'm going to assign this on my scriptable objects as the items. I'm going to implement the icon maker. Let's see, say utilities icon maker dot, not icon maker, let's see, icon. Okay, that's our interface, and we're going to have to implement these three things. Now let's go under the other scripts we have. We have a cloth item and a weapon item. On both of these cases, we need to provide something that is going to be using as a game object to instantiate it and then take a picture of it and put it back as an icon. So I'm going to go into my weapon item, and I'm just going to cut the prefab and paste it in here as the model prefab. Okay, then for the cloth item, we don't really need anything right now on the cloth item, because the cloth is basically just using a mesh, so it doesn't really matter. But you know that you will have to provide a game object on any cloth so that you can get icons from them. Back to the item then, get object for icon, return the model prefab we have. The next thing we want is a sprite for item icon or icon. So when the call is done and you actually have an icon, you're going to return the sprite for this. Okay, and get pivot position, I think we could just, for this at least, we could just say return vector2.0 or vector2.1 multiplied by 0.5f, so that will basically center it. So that's how we can get items for now. Now, let's say we want to use this onto our inventory, or not just inventory, or our UI on the quick inventory you can have down here. So I'm going to go onto my canvas when I find it. Okay, and I'm going to create an image for that. Let's change the canvas to scale with screen size. I think we need to change the resolution, however. So let's use this one multiplied by 2 and 360 multiplied by 2 as well. So 720. Maybe that's a little bit too high, but whatever. This is not really a simple game. So let's do all this. Let's maybe I'm going to use this as a mask actually, so I'm going to just say item slot. I'm going to create an empty game object, and I'm going to create the image inside. And actually I would like to have, yeah, no, an image will do. So the item slot for this one, we're going to assign a mask onto this, and we don't really need to show the mask graphic. And in here we can basically scale the object on the resolution we want. For now, I'm just going to say on my icon maker texture, I'm going to make this as 256 by 512. Okay, so I'm just going to go on to here and I'll say 512. Okay, that's really big for what we need, I guess. So let's try half of that, and half of this I think might be too small, so let's say 200. So 200 by 256. Okay, and the new item we're going to be loading is going to be in here. It's going to be loaded into this. Of course, we could just add some more extra things around it, make it a proper UI, but for right now it doesn't really matter that much. So let's test this out, but first we need to drop the icon maker object. Okay, and since this has a camera, we need to make sure that we are cooling everything but the new layer that we're going to be making for. Actually, I think we might not even need to cool the new layer, we'll see. So what's important, however, is what we do with the spawn position. Okay, so for now I'm just going to reset it and leave it over here, and I'm going to go and take one of my items we have created before. Okay, let's take the great sword since it's what we're using all the time, and as you can see, it's right out of the bat, it's super huge. So we kind of don't want to use all this because we are not really going to be getting much of the item. So we have our spawn position. Let's reset it, and let's make this tiny, and let's make it fit the camera. And actually, yeah, let's unpack it first. Where is the camera looking? Camera is looking forward, so maybe like that, and maybe we can just lower it a little bit down. This will show fine onto the camera, but I think I kind of want to make this slightly more stylized. Okay, so let's scale this up a bit. It will have really help if we were actually seeing this anywhere, but you can see down here you don't get much. Okay, so something like this. Now let's go under the icon maker. Under the asset, we have the render layer as 26. I'm going to set the new layer as 26. So this will be icon maker. Okay, and on my camera, cooling mask is already has this as 26. Okay, and of course, if we set this to icon maker and going to the camera, we can see a preview, a small preview of the icon. We can maybe tailor it slightly more, but that's what we're going to end up with. Maybe move this aside. Okay, so I'm going to remove the great sword and I'm going to go and replace the icon maker prefab. Okay, and now we're ready to roll. So going now onto the item slot, let's say we want to use this. We're going to go and create a new script inside our utilities, and I'm going to say icon hook for image. Let this compile. And yeah, we have it under R2, which we're going to change. And okay, let's delete all of this. Now, I want to have access to SA utilities.I icon, which is the target icon we want to be using. We're going to get. We also want to have the Unity engine.ui because we want the image. Target image. Okay, then on start, first of all, we need to check if target icon is not null, obviously. Okay, then if target icon dot get object for icon. Yeah, now the thing is that if you already have a sprite, you don't want to be making this again. So maybe we can just go under yeah, okay, let's add another interface here for get icon, or make one. But going on to the image, implement interface, and we're going to say if icon is null, else return icon. If icon is null, then we want to go under the, let's say, utilities dot icon maker actual, or just icon maker dot request icon for this. Now this will populate it, but we don't know when we're going to get it back. So you know what, let's not use this method at all. Let's handle it on outside of the utility level. So instead of this, I'm going to return an item. I'm going to say target item. Okay, so if target item is not equals null dot sprite or icon, let's delete this. Okay, so if target item not equals null, then target image equals dot sprite equals target item dot icon. However, on the else of this, we need to call on our icon maker. We have the callback, but we do not know when this is done. Okay, so maybe we need to kinda maybe we kinda need to make this slightly more different. So let's see. Let's go right under the icon maker. And let's find it. It's down here. Icon maker interface, icon maker actual. Yeah, we actually have this, but then icon maker actual. Okay, then when we're calling that, yeah, we do this from here. Okay, so we have two methods that can return you an icon. Okay, perfect. So back to the icon hook for that. Okay, well, I'm going to create a method void update icon sprite target sprite. Okay, so if target item.icon not equals null, all of that, otherwise icon maker, so let's say utilities icon maker request icon target item icon complete callback, that will be update icon. And we're going to get the same thing over here, target sprite. And that needs to be on icon complete, however. So, yeah, no, it needs to have the same signature, which is agnostic of what items you pass. We could have changed the signature for that, but I think the icon maker, it just makes it kind of easier to do it like this, because at the end you want to be creating your icons already, or just save them and then creating them. But yeah, this gives you a little bit more flexibility. So let's close that. Let's hit play. And we forgot to assign the item, obviously. Assign the image, assign one of the items. And there we go. We now have an inventory. Okay. So we can use this to basically reset up our UI with some actual items. Okay. Now, let's say though that we're not using this, but we are kind of picking up new items and updating them. So we're going to make a rudimentary UI setup for this. Game UI. Let's open this up. Yeah, because I keep forgetting that we are under a different namespace. I think I'm going to clean up the project. Let's see. Let's do awake. Then public static game UI. Singleton. Make this a singleton. Then what? Okay, we have two. We already have a game UI, but where is it? Here it is. So let's delete the second one. And we want to keep this one. And it didn't delete the second one, I think. Well, it hasn't compiled yet, so let's wait. See what it actually wants to do. Okay, now it's working. So, controller, game UI. Okay, let's close that and reopen it. What the? Come on. Okay, now it's working. So, it has the pickup text, okay. We don't care. We just want to assign the image for the current icon. Image, current item. Okay, then okay, there's two ways we can play this. We can set up behaviors for when something is happening. So let's say that we want to add, yeah, okay, let's do public void update current item. Sprite, target sprite, then current item equals, or let's just assign the item. You know what? That will do as well. Target item, current item. Instead of saving this, I'm going to save the icon hook for image. Okay, and current item dot target item will be the target item. Then, instead of actually assigning the target item, instead of assigning start and all that, I'm going to call public void update icon hook. Okay, and it's going to be this. And then we can pass the target item, the item, target item. And I think maybe for this, yeah, we need it for down here, but let's see, let's call this TI. So target item equals TI, and so on and so on. So back to the game UI. Instead of calling target item, let's do this load or update icon hook, and we're going to have the current target item. Then when we are loading interaction from, let's see, this is being called from the input manager, which means we can also have access when we are picking up something. Okay, let's see, where do we do that, however? If not is interacting, play target item action, okay. Otherwise can't do combo, disable lock on. Here we are, handle interactions. On interact equals this. Inside the on interact, we have the pickable item, I believe. Let's find it. Item actions. Pickable hook. On interact, okay. This will throw you back to the load weapon onto your own controller. Weapon item, and then you're basically loading the new weapon. So that means it's safe to update your game UI. So technically, if we do game UI singleton dot load or update current item with the item, this will update the rest as well. Now, the only problem is that we do not actually have two weapons to test on, so let's improvise and let's go under our weapon items, and I'm going to duplicate both of them. And on the great sword one, I'm going to create a new material. Let's make this one red. Okay, so that will be the new great sword, and we will be able to take both of them. And on the great sword one, I need to replace the great sword pivot, so it's there. The rest can stay the same, doesn't matter. Then let's go under the pickables, and the first one will be this one. This one is going to be the great sword one. Okay, the alternate version. Let's move it there. Now, under the game UI, which we have done here, let's update this object hook. Let's hit play. So I'm going to go and pick up the first weapon, which you'll see it's updated over there. And I'm going to pick up the second weapon, which is updated over there. Okay, so as you can see, we can have dynamically different icons, and of course that allows us to then later do the switch. So when you're picking up new weapons, you can just switch between them, and so on and so on. So that's it for this part. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more videos, more series, more of everything of this, then consider supporting my Patreon so we can keep making all of these nice things we're making. I'll see you next time.